All right, so I guess this is going to be my tutor video to try to explain to you how the class is now and what my thoughts are about it. And I am excited to do this with you. So what we've got now, and I don't think you're in the class yet, so we need to make sure to get you in there ASAP. But either way, we can work with this. Um, so the teacher's guide stays hidden. There's a quick intro to Blackboard. You've seen these, right? This is what they always are. And I still have to clean this up a little bit, but basically this is where mine starts. And I'm going to, like I said, tweak this. There is going to be helpful resources, and this is where I'm going to put stuff that is going to be helpful, and probably this is where we're going to stick you, or we're going to give you a separate folder where we just put tutoring resources, either one. I'm going to try to keep it as little cluttered as possible. So even the mastering biology could go inside of the helpful resources if it fits, if that works. So it's something to think about. Because I think there's just too much crap around here right in the front. But that's just a thought. Ponder it. Tell me what you think. Um, and then they're all structured the same way, and I think that probably was the way you saw it the last time, right? That there's the overview with why it matters and the chapters, the walkthrough, and then the kinds of things. So the new assignments that I don't think, well, I know weren't there before, was the study notes. So the study notes are brand new. And I'm assigning fewer mastering chapters. So a lot of the digestion and so chapters, I touch on those as kind of like an application kind of thing. Um, and I think that's where you can be helpful, and you can make, give them pointers like, to really answer this question, maybe you need to look at chapter, 21, or to help you with, that kind of thing. So and then you and I can talk about what the kinds of things are that they need from me, so that they really understand what I'm asking them to do. So this is kind of where I'm hoping that you, and then the study notes. So I'm hoping that you have some fun with the study notes, because I'm asking them to submit study notes. I've been doing that for, I just started that last semester. And what's been really interesting is how different people use notes, if they use them at all. So some students, it's obvious they don't use them at all. Um, some students just write a whole lot of stuff, especially the high school students. They just write a whole lot of stuff. They write like a book. Um, Adults make just little cryptic notes that don't mean anything. And I don't know that I've seen anybody do like anything graphic. So I think there is some training and teaching that can be done with note taking. I think there's a lot of, and if I remember correctly, you did some of that, didn't you? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that'd be a good, together with the idea of how do you read, right? And another thing I'd like to start adding, to my class, is how do you look at a picture? There's a skill in looking at a picture in a biology book and getting knowledge out of it, or using it to review materials. And you were doing that, because you were talking about using, mastering, and having it read to you as you're looking at the picture. So I think things like that, maybe just a little section where we put a thing out, how to use images to help you study, or the secret of images, or something. Think about it. I think that may be fun. Um, yes. So start here, an acknowledgement. That's simple. Introduce yourself. Read the ebook. Figure this out. Mastering assignment. Chapter 1 quiz. And then the meme. And the meme's just going to be fun. I'm not really worried about the meme very much. If they're panicked, that's great. As I was reading up on, and as I was talking to you, I was debating on having them maybe, yeah, later on do a second meme that has more to do with biology, or who knows, the evolution of the memes. I don't know, but we could. blow that out of proportion too. So that's the exploring life module. So that one is just kind of getting them started and getting them kind of doing the things, having them find the places where they are, and figuring out where the help is that they need. Um, and then we start with the serious life in with the chemistry, and you'll see that there's as soon as you are in the class, you'll see that there is now a assignments part 1 and an assignments part 2. And what happens here is, and this was something that you may have realized the last time around when I had these assignments where I was telling them, hey, you've got the diet, for example, the diet assignment. They struggled making the connection between the diet assignment and the thing we were talking about. And so I'm trying to make that a little more obvious by saying you're only going to get this opened for you if you've done the first part. So if you've done the first part of the assignment. So with the chemistry assignments, you've got the overview, why it matters, and I've done a little bit. And again, I don't remember if that was something I added when you were here the last time, or if that was something that I added after that. I've got videos here to these Alexander Street PBS, but I'm really only using little snippets from them, mostly right at the beginning, actually, um, because yeah, that's just where it's at. But for them to kind of, if they want to, to see what the oxygen is used for and what the carbon is used for. Um, so we're just talking chemistry that first week. And then once they've done that, so they do in the first week, they just do the resources, the chapters, the sample questions, mastering as usually. They're going to do the natural versus chemical quiz, so we understand that, it's all chemicals, it's all the same thing, just recycled 1,000 times. The human, the world within clips to kind of give them a little bit of an idea of a connection to the real life. That plagiarism quiz may take I am not married to this plagiarism quiz. As a matter of fact, I may do something completely different. And actually nowadays this one is completely and antiquated. That's the word I'm looking for. Because we're much more concerned with AI at the moment. And we're going to play with AI, I think. And then study aid document. And they usually ask, what's the study aid document? And the study aid document really is more diagnostic than anything else. I want to see how they keep notes. I want to see if they keep notes. Do they keep notes by hand? Do they do something on the computer? Or do they just copy paste something just so that they have an assignment submitted, right? There's something diagnostic about that, I think. And so by knowing what the students know and what they do, maybe we can help them with some things. So that's where we're at. Now, once they've done the first part, they then have access to the second part. And the second part, I'm specifically saying this is an application and extension to the previous stuff. And so there's the drink and straw diet assignment, and then just a game review. So no biggie. And then there's a review and extension discussion board. And so in this review extension discussion board, this is where I want you and me to kind of try to troll together, to try to see if we can make sure that they're not going off the deep end with something, because there do seem to be people who seem to be under the erroneous impression that somehow calories aren't calories for everybody. And we need to kind of rectify that a little bit. So that would be chemistry, and then that's the extension of chemistry, right? So it's database. Hang on, that was chemistry. Oh yeah, the game review, and then this database. So some of the things one of the things I want to do is there's this idea in the book of themes. There's just kind of runs through the book, and I want them to kind of understand what these themes are and how they apply to the different sections of the book. And I think that'll make sense in just a second, a little bit more. Um, So that's chemistry of life. Then we get to cells and structure. And again, you've got the modules of the cells. You've got the module. You've got a little bit of video stuff that if they want to look at it. And then I need this. This needs to actually be smaller. I want to make that way less than that. Um, but then here, the first set is just basically the assignments and the learning of the words and the things and all that kind of stuff. And the second part this time around, oh, in the first part, never mind. So in the first part, it is more about the theoretical part, and you do a little bit of an osmosis activity. Um, but then in the second part, we're looking at the application. So this sort of feels a little bit like application, but it's really more experimental, right? It looks at it how it's happening in the process, and then the application happens here. And so that is where I want them to go. We'll go to the different places, but not everybody has to do all of the things. And I want them to recognize that the same themes go through all of these things like gas exchange and circulation and all of that, that it's all diffusion and osmosis, and where all the places are that diffusion and osmosis actually plays a role in your body as you're doing this. Um, the next one after that is the cell specialization quiz. And the cell specialization is one at this point here, we're talking about cells, right? But what the cells that they're introduced to are the cells that are like the generic cell, right? The model cell that's in the book. And so again, I don't know if that was something I already did the last time I had you in one of my classes, but what I want them to do is I want them to explore cell specializations. And I've kind of jumped on that a little more because I want them to kind of recognize the specialization. And even if they don't quite get it at this point, and most of them don't even know what I'm asking them. Most of them have not a clue, because they are struggling with both the idea of a theme, the idea of this specialized nerve cell, right? They don't really look at it as having any kind of similarity to the regular cell. And that's the thing I want them to recognize, that these are the same cells, they just have a different shape. Their internal structure is such a way that makes them differently shaped, and they make them differently shaped because they're better able to do the things they do as a specialized cell. Because the thing that carries you, like if you're the rabbit that has the better nerve cells, you're going to be likely to be running away faster because you noticed it sooner, and your muscles can react faster, and so you're more likely than to survive than the next guy. That's kind of the idea where I'm coming from. But there is where I would hope to. Now I had them do this because the cell specialization thing, because they are so confused and they had no idea how to answer this. I got a lot of really wrong answers. And so I asked them to literally put this into an AI question and ask the AI this. And the reaction I got was absolutely hilarious. It was beautiful. It was everything from, sadly, this was in part a dual credit class. And so the dual credit students couldn't actually do it because they didn't have access to it in their course. And then in the somebody was offended that I would, well, more than one person was offended that I would give them access to this cheating software and even require it. I needed to be careful that I wasn't going to get, accused of something shady. Needless to say, all of us faculty are talking about how we're going to use this and most of us are talking about how to fight it. I'm talking about how to use it. And what I want to do here, how I want to use it, is the AI is actually really quite good at it. And I want the students to see where, compare and contrast theirs with the AI. And again, there is where I see a place for you to, rather than having them write that, for them to have a conversation with you about it, potentially. so that they'll have to, I don't know, send you a video or something of them explaining what the difference is, and then you going, yeah, this is right, this is wrong, this and giving them a video response back, because I think that may be the most efficient way to do it rather than writing. um, so I don't know, again, we can do this any way you want to, but that's kind of where I'm going with that chapter. um, Now, next chapter is photosynthesis and cellular respiration. And there, actually, hang on. Let me show you this one first. Study aid. So one of the things I have started to do, hang on, that wasn't it. Hey, why not? Is it in here? Well, never mind. We'll look at it here. It doesn't really matter. So, you know this assignment, the in-class exercise here. And one of the things that's new, and I thought I gave them that as a link. I don't know. Hang on, let me go see. Doesn't really matter. So you remember that assignment probably. But long and the short of it is, hang on, let me go. What I really wanted to show you is this. So some of these I assign them as assignments. So some of these, like, hang on, I can make this go back to what it was. History. So this exercise, so this is one of the things I've done for them as a spotlight exercise. And I don't know, again, like, I don't know if we did spotlight when you were tutoring the last time, but a spotlight is supposed to be like an active kind of thing that you do. And so what I made for them is this thing here where they literally can drag, they can go label these things. And this is the same, it's the same thing. It's the picture from that we've had before, where I'm asking them to fill this thing out. And with this, they can literally fill these things and drag them there. So that was kind of one of the things that, and I think there's at least one assignment where they do that kind of thing. So one of the things I was thinking about for you to do, so for example, this is, macromolecule study aid. So there's a study aid thing that I give them as an assignment, where they're literally trying to fill this out using these blocks. And then what they're supposed to turn in is a picture of the final product. Now, the part that they don't realize is that the pattern of colors right here, that's actually the pattern of the colors in the final product. So it's very quickly and very easily to check, but that is not a random pattern. It's the pattern of the solution. But that's one of those where, so I don't share this original with them. I make them, they can save it to themselves. And then they can just pull this stuff over here, or go Control X, Control, whoops, going to say Control Y, but Control V worked too. And so that's the idea there. So that was, hang on, what am I looking at? Why am I looking at you? I don't know. Hang on. I was here, right? Yes, I was here. Okay, so photosynthesis, you've seen that before. Reproduction and cellular genetics is similar. Again, a part 1 and a part 2. In part 1, we did the DNA isolation, just like we did the time before. And then there are study notes, and I don't remember what those study notes were. Ah, yes, exactly. So that one is my Punnett Square activity. And that is exactly the same idea. And I think most of them, yeah. So I need to restore this one because, or I need to make this different. But I'm actually okay with everybody seeing what everybody else has done. So there are different sets of assignments, and they can either get it right or wrong or whatever they did. And then um, they submit. I don't remember if they submit, just I've done it or whatever. Oh, no, no, they just submit the solutions, right? So they just submit the solutions, and I grade that based on, they can do it any way they want to, or they can look it up with the activity. I'm okay with that. I'm gonna make it 0 now, but you know what I mean. Okay, and then on that one, the extension is going to be we're going to go a little further with going sex linked, blood type inheritance, who's the daddy, the missing person blood type mystery. I think you were there for that one. And so they get to talk about it here, and then they submit it there. And then last but not least, we're going to evolution. And evolution, I've got to, one of the things that I think I have too little in the class that I want to add for the fall, but we're going to be okay for the summer, is more in terms of a diversity of different creatures and animals and that kind of stuff, because I don't talk much about that. I talk about the mechanisms that lead to the diversity, but I don't actually talk about the diverse animals. And I think that's something that's missing in my class. um, and then here, the bunny game, you remember the bunny game, I imagine. The evolution selection story, you may remember. And then we're going back to the cell specialization. And again, this back here could use potentially some work, but we talk about like real life, topics, antibiotic resistance, viruses, and then general best thing, worst thing you learned in class. And that's basically it. Midterm and a final. Mastering is usually, but that's basically the long and the short of what the class is. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to doing this with you. So